In this lecture, we'll go over the history of the search engine because knowing where we came from is essential to knowing how we got to where we are today and how to use this knowledge of history to better improve your SEO. When the internet first became mainstream, it was very difficult to find all the new websites that were cropping up. The first solution that people came up with was kind of like the Yellow Pages. People would create directories, and then the owners of the various directories would hope that each individual website owner would go ahead and submit their own site to the directories. Then the directories would organize these websites under topics and subtopics and rank each website according to the owner's preference. It was very difficult to find websites under these directories, and they omitted almost every website because it would just be inconceivable to list all of the new websites that were popping up. It was also very difficult for the directory owners to prioritize which websites should be listed where. Alta Vista was the first very popular true search engine. It was the largest search engine in the world in 1998. Interestingly, that was the year that Google was started. Alta Vista would rank each website that it found based on a concept called keyword density. The keyword density theory was very simple. It basically assumed that the more times a website said a specific word or phrase, the more important that word or phrase is to the overall content on the page. The thinking is that if you say Manhattan restaurant 5 times, you probably have a lot to say about Manhattan restaurants, and therefore people searching for that phrase would probably find your webpage very useful. The problem with this rudimentary approach is that it lent itself to a lot of manipulation. Alta Vista's algorithm and thinking lent itself to so many new SEO professionals, if you can call them that, engaging in very easy, very lazy SEO. All these people had to do was take a look at their competition, go to Alta Vista, type in Manhattan restaurant or whatever else they wanted to rank for, count up the number of times that keyword was mentioned on the #1 website in the listings, and then not only add Manhattan restaurant as many times as that #1 person did, but add 1 or 2 more. This obviously was very bad for user experience. It lent itself to bizarre one-upsmanship, whereby people would constantly check their competition for the amount of instances of a particular word and constantly update their own site to try to shove in more instances of their own words in an attempt to constantly outrank their competitors. While this might have been good for the very early SEO industry, it was very bad for users who were fed up with seeing so many ham-fisted ways of saying the same word over and over and over again. Marketing and salespeople often conflicted with the people who were directly in charge of SEO if these people had different roles in the organization, and it wasn't just one person wearing many hats. You'd have these marketing people saying, hey, this copy looks terrible. How is this going to convert? These users are going to think we're ridiculous writing these same words over and over and over again. The solution was to come up with all sorts of tricks. For example, the SEO professionals decided to write the keywords in the same color as the background. So, for example, if the background on the website was white, they would write the words in white as well, so it would be invisible to human readers, but completely visible to search engines. At the end of the day, this might have helped out the user a little bit. At least it was better than the original position, which was to just cram in as many visible keywords as they could. But it certainly wasn't beneficial for the user as compared with having a system that did not encourage this type of extreme attention to keyword stuffing. When Google came on the scene, they truly changed the world. Larry Page and Sergey Brin met at Stanford, and they borrowed a very important concept from academia. They noticed that the respectability of an article could generally be measured by the number of citations to that article and the quality of the publications that are making these citations. They took what they learned and applied it to search, and thus the modern concept of a backlink was born. The core methodology of Google's system remains similar today as it was when it launched in the late 90s. That is, Google counts up the number of backlinks, similar to citations, that other websites are making to your website, and it also assesses the quality of these linking websites. It takes all of this, adds it up, and comes up with a weighted number for every single website. This number is then one of the most important factors affecting your ranking in Google. This backlink concept took off like crazy, and now almost every, if not every, search engine uses a similar methodology. So rest assured, very similar SEO efforts will work for Google as well as other search engines such as Bing. Most people appreciate Google for its amazing and uncanny ability to sort through and organize all of these websites. But what many people do not realize is behind the scenes, Google also dramatically changed the incentive structure of the internet. What I mean by this is, whereas before, the SEO incentive was to simply stuff as many of your keyword into your website as possible, now the incentive is to get as many backlinks, quality backlinks at that, as possible. So, when you see a blog that seems like someone spent hours and hours and hours writing, and you wonder why that person spent all that time writing just to make a free post online, you probably have Google to thank for that. That is, these people are writing excellent content, probably in the hopes that other people will link to them, boosting the credibility not only of that blog post, but of their website as a whole. This really changed the game, and it's probably responsible for millions of hours of additional incentivized content creation by people hoping to use content marketing to bolster their website's ranking in Google and other search engines. Now that you understand the history of the modern search engine, in the next lecture we'll turn to discussing the importance and the significance of the modern backlink, how to measure certain qualities, how to determine what a do-follow and a no-follow backlink is and why you should care. And later in this section, we'll learn an amazing amount of extremely actionable tips that you can use immediately, minutes after the lectures, to boost your ranking in Google by generating these amazing backlinks. I hope you found this history of the modern search engine interesting, and I'll see you in the next lecture.